KBLA Talk 1580. Happy holidays. Stay tuned for more details on these incredible upcoming events. KBLA Talk 1580. Your voice, your community, your power.
Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me.
Jesse Jackson Jr. It's Tenacious Tuesdays on the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. I'm particularly excited about today's show, as I am just about every show that we do here on KBLA Talk 80. What an amazing news day. The White House is in absolute chaos over revelations of things said about the President of the United States by the Chief of Staff to the President of the United States, Susie Wiles. She has, well, more than suggested that working with the president is like working with a person on addiction, more specifically, an alcoholic. We're going to talk about that in part this afternoon on the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. Our very special guest on Tenacious Tuesdays is Liz King, recently serving as Senior Equity Advisor Program Director for the Leadership Conference on Civil and Human Rights, a position she held from 2015 until 2025. In this role, Ms. King led the organization's work to ensure that all students are fully included in welcoming schools from early childhood through post-secondary education that prepare them for college, careers, life, and the full exercise of their social, political, and economic rights. Throughout her tenure at the Leadership Conference, King coordinated the coalition's work to advance equal opportunity in education and represented the civil and human rights community's positions and perspectives on education policy topics in the media, in testimony before the U.S. Department of Education, and during the course of legislative negotiations. Liz King, welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show.
Always great to be here, Congressman. Thank you so much for having me.
It really is always a pleasure. You bring so much spirit and energy to our show, and we are extremely grateful. First and foremost, happy holidays to you.
You too. It is tis the season. Tis the season.
Yeah, but I don't know if it's tis the season to be jolly.
I don't know about that.
But it is tis the season. Let me share with our listeners a couple of things. Liz is going to be one of our regular contributors on the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show, a permanent contributor to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. And I'm particularly honored by that. And to Liz, with her, not only with her energy, but her capacity that is scholastically extraordinary, clear, concise, and to the point. She's made for radio. And I am excited that she has decided to lend her talents to us here at the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. Liz, let me ask you a question. We were just a few moments ago in the green room of our show, having a little chat, and you shared with me something that I'd actually never heard, but you suggested it was a perfect metaphor. You found yourself with your green thumb planting a tree in the winter in solid soil. You said it's a perfect metaphor for what's taking place in our nation and in our world. Liz King.
Yeah, Congressman, it is, I got these new bare root trees that I'm really excited about. It's an oak tree, actually, and it's about 2 feet tall. And when this tree is done growing, it's going to be 40 feet tall. But here I am digging in the frozen soil, sweeping away the snow to create a hole to plant this new tree in, and had a moment of thinking, this is absurd. What am I doing? This is not a season of growing. This is a season of hibernation. This is a season of scaling back. And to me, it just felt like the perfect metaphor for the moment we are in right now, that now is, in fact, a time of planting new trees. Now is a time of reminding ourselves that that which we plant today, we will reap tomorrow, and that it will take years and years and years, whether we're thinking about young people, whether we're thinking about communities, whether we're thinking about new Americans. We are planting now for the future, even when the ground is frozen, even when there is snow covering the ground, even when all the leaves have fallen from the trees. It is always time to plant. It is always time to invest in the future. And I think in a moment that is so challenging, we watch the physical destruction of the White House. We watch the destructions of the norms, the disregarding of our Constitution and our rights. We have to remind ourselves, we have to remind each other that it is always time to plant. And that which we plant today, we will harvest tomorrow. And it just, to me, it felt like the perfect metaphor that even in the wintertime, in the deep midwinter snow, frosty wind made moan, right? Now is a time to think to the future, to think about what we do now for the brighter future we all deserve.
Liz, I did some research and some study about ancient Roman history, and so much of history suggests that periods of philosophy, periods of natural thinking, and even humanistic thinking tends to suffer during times of war, during times of conquest, during times of instability. And it's certainly, with your tree planting analogy, it seems that you're going against the grain, that most people really aren't feeling, even reading a book, let alone philosophizing or thinking about planting trees. Maybe the only Americans who seasonally have to give thought to this idea are actually farmers who during the season are purchasing seed and trying to find the best prices for seed. They've already tilled the soil. They're thinking about the fertilizer. They're thinking about what the next crop might yield. Some of them are looking at the Farmer's Almanac and making some predictions about what the weather might be. And in this moment, I'm thinking that not only are you right, but that there are millions of Americans, maybe not in the urban areas, but they too are thinking about seasons, and they are thinking about planting, and they too are thinking about growing. Is there any possibility we can join their thinking in what the future might hold for us as Americans, meaning all Americans, regardless of their race, sex, class, or their politics, blue or red?
Absolutely. I mean, we're hearing stories of farmers who bought into an idea. They bought into whether it was racial resentment, whether it was economic frustration, whether it was the feeling of being ignored. They bought into, for example, the Trump agenda, and now are finding themselves on the losing end. We see what's happening the deportation of the people who pick our food so that we can all eat, we see the consequences of that. I think your point about this connectedness to the soil, the source of all food in this country and all over the world, that's where food comes from. I think there's a lot to learn about what it means to come together around that. And I think your point about, persistence and the persistence, even in times of tremendous adversity, is just always an incredibly important reminder.
Liz, I'm so grateful that you're going to be a regular contributor on the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. When we come forward, we are going to talk about the tumultuous nature of what is taking place on this day in Washington, D.C. with the revelations from the Chief of Staff, Susie Wiles. I believe our producer, Gina Towns, has a wonderful clip to bring all of us who are listening up to date, and then we will begin an in-depth conversation with Liz King. More when we come forward on the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk.
While you're stuck in traffic, we can at least bring you up to speed on the news of the day. You're listening to Jesse Jackson Jr. only on KBLA Talk 1580.
Break out the champagne. Everybody can blast.
KBLA Talk 1580 congratulates our own Keith Underwood, host of the weekend entertainment show Black in the Green Room, on his recent honor at the annual National Arts and Entertainment Journalism Awards. Keith received a first place award presented by the Los Angeles Press Club for his entertainment reporting, and we couldn't be prouder. Congratulations, Keith, from all of us at KBLA Talk 1580.
The holidays mean more travel, more shopping, more time online, and more personal info in more places that could expose you more to identity theft. But LifeLock monitors millions of data points per second. If your identity is stolen, our US-based restoration specialists will fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Don't face drained accounts, fraudulent loans, or financial losses alone. Get more holiday fun and less holiday worry with LifeLock. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code NEWS. Visit lifelock.com. Terms apply.
Your ambition just met its match with Robinhood. Trade stocks and ETFs, options, futures, and crypto all on one platform. Get started today at Robinhood.com/yourmoney. Your money, your move. All investments involve risk, including loss of principal. Options, futures, and crypto trading carry significant risk and may not suit all investors. Securities offered through Robinhood Financial LLC, member SIPC. Futures trading is offered by Robinhood Derivatives LLC, not FDIC or SIPC protected. Crypto offered through Robinhood Crypto LLC, NMLS ID 1702840, not FDIC or SIPC protected. Portfolio management offered by Robinhood Strategies, an SEC registered advisor.
So you need last-minute gifts. No judgment. Get an extra 25% off during Kohl's Friends and Family Sale and find great gifts under $20. Like something cozy, something thoughtful, something that says you planned this all along. Yep, you're just one quick trip away from checking off the last gifts on your list. Save now at Kohl's and Kohl's.com. Select styles. Offer ends December 24th. Some exclusions apply. See store or Kohl's.com for details.
I can't believe how spotless my floors look after using the Swiffer Power Mop. No more dragging around a heavy mop and messy bucket. Now I get the same deep clean without all the work. Thanks to the powerful solution and scrubbing pad of the Swiffer Power Mop, dirt and grime don't stand a chance, and I don't break a sweat. Mic drop. Mop drop.
Swiffer Power Mop. Swiffer Power Mop.
A smarter way to mop. Try it or your money back.
Celebrate good times. Come on.
KBLA Talk 1580 congratulates Malik Books on celebrating 35 years in business.
It's a celebration.
Malik Books proudly houses one of the largest African American and diverse children's books in the nation. This is the perfect time to pick up holiday reads, meaningful gifts, and to support literacy in our community. For 35 years, Malik Books has stood strong in the Black Book Revolution, uplifting stories that heal, inspire, and transform. One reader at a time. Change your thoughts, change your life. Books are the gift that keeps giving. From all of us at KBLA Talk 1580, congratulations to Malik Books on 35 years of culture, pride, and community.
Now back to more of Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. The Jesse Jackson Jackson Jr. Show. The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. King Volley drops the beat. Come on and talk with me.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. Welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. This is Tenacious Tuesday, and our very special contributor today. Prior to joining the Leadership Conference, Miss Liz King served as Senior Policy Associate for the Education at the Children's Defense Fund, where she focused on school discipline reform and school funding equity. King's policy and advocacy career began as Legislative Director for Congressman Shaka Fattah, whom I had the privilege of serving with, where she advised and represented the congressman on education, healthcare, women, children, and family policies. King's education career began as a middle school teacher in South Philadelphia, and she holds a BA in government and religion from Wesleyan University and an MS in elementary education from St. Joseph's University. Liz, welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show.
Thank you so much, Congressman. Always great. Always a great time.
Gina has a clip for us on the tumultuous nature of the Chief of Staff of the President of the United States, Susie Wiles.
This just in, a revealing new interview with really the most powerful person in President Trump's White House beyond him, Chief of Staff Susie Wiles, commenting and going there on a wide range of topics, it seems, with Vanity Fair in a new series of interviews, from the handling of the Epstein investigation to her assessment of the big names on Donald Trump's team. Let's get to CNN's Elena Treen, who is at the White House. There seems to be a lot in there, Elena. What is your big takeaway?
I mean, look, I've covered the president, and I've also covered Susie Wiles for years now, Kate, and this is one of the most candid interviews and stories that she's offered really from the entire time I've done that. This is incredibly candid, some of the things that she was admitting, because I will tell you too, Wiles is someone who often likes to operate kind of in the shadows and quietly. She doesn't like to draw attention to herself, and that's why I think some of what people are waking up and reading this morning is so stunning to hear about. But let me get into some of the main things that I found very notable from what Chris Whipple, who works with Vanity Fair, detailed from their conversations. One is that Wiles referred to President Trump as someone having a, quote, alcoholic personality. She also talked a lot about the vice president, J.D. Vance, someone who I should note, had this conversion that Whipple noted as well from never Trumper to a MAGA acolyte. Susie Wiles essentially said that change, that conversion has been, quote, sort of political. And she said the vice president has been a, quote, conspiracy theorist for a decade. She also talked about Russell Vought. He is the White House budget chief, but he's also, of course, one of the architects of that notorious Project 2025 conservative blueprint for the future of the Republican Party, something that Trump had previously, of course, disavowed. She argued that Vought is, quote, a right-wing absolute zealot. And then she also went into a number of different things. One, she talked about Pam Bondi, the Attorney General, someone who was one of her closest friends, I should note, in this administration. She argued that Bondi, quote, completely whiffed the handling of the Epstein file. She also talked about how the president, who came in and offered a series of pardons to really roughly 1,000 people who were convicted for their crimes on January 6th, she essentially admitted that she had urged the president not to pardon those who had committed violent crimes on January 6th and on the Capitol attack. She also talked about how she disagreed with him sometimes when it came to tariffs, saying that she had urged him to delay some of the tariffs that he ultimately announced. And it goes on. There's a lot of other areas where she kind of talks about kind of disagreeing with him, but also ultimately her role is as a facilitator rather than, past White House chiefs that we've seen, notably people like John Kelly during the president's first administration, who at times tried to hold him back. She sees as her job trying to kind of shape what he does, but also not preventing him from doing what he wants to do. One very notable quote as well that stuck out.
Liz, in this moment, I'm saying to myself, there is someone in the White House who is trying to offer the president some advice that is either absolutely being rejected or isolated. I went back to my childhood and I was thinking about the Flintstones and that little character that used to show up and pop on his shoulder and start whispering in his ear, hey, don't do this or don't do that. I think his name was it Gazoo? Kazoo. Oh, it was Kazoo. Yeah, Kazoo. Liz, how much longer does Susie Wiles have left after this interview?
I mean, look, I see this a different way. I see this as an effort to create plausible deniability for some of the most shameful actions of this administration. We saw this in the first Trump administration, where you would see officials plant stories about, well, I told him not to. And it's, so much of what I've been thinking about is Hannah Arendt's book, Eichmann in Jerusalem. And this idea that, well, I was only following orders. So she knew the destruction of USAID, which has cost lives and will continue to cost lives for generations, a horrible, horrible, indefensible, awful move. Here she is planning a story about, well, I didn't think you should do it. What did you do to stop it? What did you do to stop it? And so, I think we would all like to believe there are people whispering in his ear. We would like to believe the Lord Almighty is whispering in his ear, saying, don't do this, don't do that. But at the end of the day, these are people with deep institutional power who have made choices. And yes, she may be feeling bad about this story and she may become a casualty. And once again, we may see somebody else lose their job because of Donald Trump. But I do think it is worth asking the question whether there is growing recognition among President Trump and those proximate to him of their own need to have plausible deniability. We know that they will lose in the fullness of time. We know that history will not judge any of these individuals kindly. And they are looking to have these stories out there when they go to write their book, when there is an effort to, bring forward. We're seeing this in the military as well. We're seeing this effort to say, well, it wasn't me. I tried to stop it. And I do worry that that's what we're seeing right here, right now. What have you done? You said you thought this was a bad move. You still have your job. So that tells us how you made that calculus.
So I'm going to join you on this journey down this plausible deniability theory. If Democrats regain control of the Congress next year, it's quite possible, in light of a wide-ranging interview like this, that the chief of staff to the president of the United States could very well be subpoenaed to answer a number of questions by a number of different committees as a result of a wide-ranging interview like this. Any thoughts on Democrats and their response to the veneer of Donald Trump actually breaking?
Absolutely. We know that there are a whole lot of people who have a responsibility to hold this president accountable. Thankfully, what we're seeing is the fourth estate. The media is showing up and doing its job. And you, congressmen, have been doing your job with this radio show and making your listeners aware of what's going on and helping people to cut through all the noise and the chaos. And yes, Congress right now has an obligation. This is not a partisan question. The Constitution is very, very clear that the Congress has a responsibility to hold the executive in check. And the fact that these Republican members of Congress have abdicated that responsibility is not justified by their party affiliation. They are failing to do their constitutionally mandated job. And we see, a little crack here, a little crack there, or recognition. Well, maybe we'll ask some hard questions. Well, the Constitution is clear about their obligation. Now, the hope is that if different people are elected to the Congress, they will fulfill that constitutional mandate. They will restore the balance of powers, and they will ensure that our Constitution is being followed to the benefit of the American people. So I do absolutely hope that what we see is a change in congressional leadership and a commitment to the constitutional responsibility described in holding the executive accountable.
Liz, let me ask a question about the other branch of government where Donald Trump actually resides and the Democratic alternatives that are being presented, or those candidates, those names that have been mentioned thus far. Have you heard anything in their platforms or their preliminary campaigns, and maybe it's just simply too early, that they are going to counterbalance what Donald Trump has done in less than 1 year as president of the United States, should they be elected president in 2028?
Well, one thing I think that is incredibly important for anyone who would seek the highest office in the land, we are seeing obviously a massive abuse of power. But within that massive abuse of power, there is an indication that the executive in our president in our country has the ability to create policy and move quickly. And we have seen with President Biden, we have seen too often, we have been told to wait. We've been told that incrementalism is the way to go. And I think now the lesson is we need an ambitious agenda. There's sort of the euphemism of affordability. And you and I have talked about there are crises in this country. The care economy is in crisis. We need to do something. We need to do big, big things. We need to make sure that people who work a full day's work should be an honest day's pay that enables you to provide for your family, to have a safe, warm place to live, to have food to feed your family, access to medical care, and access to care as you grow older, or if you find yourself in a situation where you're dependent on the care of your family. And I think what I am going to be listening for, what I hope we are all listening for, is an ambitious agenda that is committed to equal opportunity and the really true American values of equal opportunity, justice, fairness, and equality. And that's what I'm going to be listening for. And that's what I hope we're all listening for from every elected official, from school board races to state house races to U.S. Senate, and then, of course, always the President of the United States.
I'm listening for a candidate who has, with the support of the Brennan Center and, of course, you, Liz, and other think tank and thought leaders and influencers in Washington, D.C., for the 200 or more prepared executive orders that shouldn't take 2 months to pass, that ought to be ready to be signed on day one as President of the United States. I really don't want to hear the lip service from a Democrat. We've seen, to what you've suggested, that the executive has a tremendous amount of power that we, the American people, have never known that they had the capacity to use. The court has clearly opened up that avenue. But it seems to me that the next chief executive has the power to wield the pardon power in a way that this president wielded it negatively. He could also wield it positively for men and women who've paid their debt to society, who don't have hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars to seek pardon from the President of the United States. There are dozens of executive orders at the National Institute of Health and the CDC that need to be enacted on day one. The entire vaccine committee that's responsible for what we're going through with respect to childhood vaccinations, there ought to be an executive order prepared already. And as far as I'm concerned, at any Democratic convention leading into the 2028 process, that ought to be the party's platform. Those 200 day one executive orders that restore some sense of normalcy to our government. Any thoughts on that, Liz?
Absolutely. I want to see executive actions. I want to see legislative action. I want to see regulatory action. I want an ambitious agenda. We as a country are so much greater than this moment, and we have survived, we have thrived in great moments before, and it's time to come back to that. It's time to come back to those moments in which we have seen meaningful economic reform, in which we have seen the true expansion of rights and opportunities. And I think none of us can accept anything less of the next president than a true, authentic, ambitious commitment to equal opportunity and a thriving agenda for everyone in this country.
Liz, let me ask you this question. We have about 2 minutes before we come forward, maybe just a little bit less. It also seems that the restoration of federal workers to their posts and the dismissal of these hacks at every level of the government who took office with Donald Trump when he was inaugurated as president of the United States, that their removal, particularly those who believe in an ideological bend that supports Donald Trump's movement towards, I'm just going to be candid, white supremacy, ought to be something we're ready to fight on day one in a new administration. Fire them. Get them out of there.
Absolutely. Now we need a return to the honor and the dignity of public service. Absolutely. We need a return to science. We need a return to an inclusive process that allows for the American people to have the opportunity to participate and be heard. Absolutely. We need significant reform, and none of us are going to wait.
It's Tenacious Tuesdays on the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. My very special guest is one of our newest contributors. The mind of Liz King on Tenacious Tuesdays is what you're listening to. More when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580. Thank you, Liz. See you in just a moment.
The biggest names, the best conversations. You're riding with Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
Amber Payton with BIN News Now. Black New York City Mayor Eric Adams is highlighting major wins as his term ends, pointing to reduced crime, more affordable housing, and no income tax for low-income residents.
And I'm leaving back a proud record.
His dropped federal corruption case raised eyebrows, with some accusing him of cutting a deal tied to Trump's immigration crackdown. Erica Kirk and Candace Owens called their first meeting productive after a lengthy conversation on Monday. They clarified past tensions and found more common ground than expected. Kirk, now CEO of Turning Point USA, hinted there's more to come from both. And the new owner of Michael Jordan's Highland Park mansion wants to turn it into a museum. Developer John Cooper unveiled the plan called Champions Point, sparking debate over traffic and noise. Supporters say it honors Jordan's legacy and boosts the local economy. A city committee voted 4-3 to keep the idea moving forward. Get BIN News now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Compassion sponsorship means food, healthcare, education, and most of all, being known, loved, and protected. There are thousands of kids waiting over a year. End their wait. Sponsor a child with compassion today. Text the word radio to 83393.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
A troubling season for the Clippers continues to generate more misery. They lost to Memphis last night, 121-103. 4 straight losses for the Clippers, who now have lost 8 straight at home. The Clippers haven't won a home game since October 31st against New Orleans. The loss to Memphis drops the Clippers to 6-20. If it wasn't for a 5-22 New Orleans, the Clippers would be at the bottom of the Western Conference. The Lakers are off until Thursday night in Utah at 18-7. The Lakers have the 3rd best record in the West. Luka Doncic still leads the NBA in scoring with 34.7 points per game. The Rams will not have wide receiver Devontae Adams for Thursday night's showdown game at Seattle. Adams suffered a strained hamstring in Sunday's win over Detroit. The Rams are considering resting Adams for the final 3 regular season games to make sure he's healthy for the playoffs. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580.
This holiday season, KBLA Talk 1580 wishes you and yours joy, peace, and prosperity. As we celebrate with family and friends, we're already looking forward to an exciting first quarter, packed with must-attend events to kick off the new year just right. In January, join us for our inaugural Brotherhood Brunch, bringing together community leaders, change makers, and everyday people for inspiration and connection. February means it's time for our signature Black History Month luncheon, a powerful celebration you won't want to miss. And in March, Women's History Month, we're once again hosting our State of Black Women in Los Angeles Symposium and Luncheon, addressing the issues that matter most inside our community. From all of us at KBLA Talk 1580, happy holidays. Stay tuned for more details on these incredible upcoming events. KBLA Talk 1580, your voice, your community, your power.
If a Lenovo computer for your business is on your holiday list, don't shop around. Just go directly to the source, Lenovo.com. It's your last chance to get exclusive deals on the PCs you want for your business, like the ThinkPad X9 14 Aura Edition and Yoga 7i 2-in-1. So avoid all that shopping chaos and price comparing, and just go directly to the source, Lenovo.com, where PCs are up to 35% off. That's Lenovo.com.
Lenovo. As a mom, comforting my family is what I do best. Vicks Vapor Stick provides soothing, non-medicated Vicks vapors in an easy-to-apply stick, and it dries fast, so there's no mess. I use it to comfort myself and my family.
Thanks, Mom.
Vicks Vapo Stick, soothing comfort for the whole family. And try Vicks Vapo Shower Max for steamy Vicks vapors when you need more comfort for yourself. Use as directed.
This is the story of the one. As the purchasing manager at a manufacturing plant, she knows the only thing more important than having the right safety gear is having it there when you need it. That's why she partners with Grainger for auto reordering, so her team members can count on her to have cut-resistant gloves on hand, and each shift can run safely and efficiently. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
An official message from Medicare.
Couple more minutes, and we'll start this month's book club.
You know, I usually love a plot twist, but this year, I'm comparing my options during Medicare open enrollment.
You can't assume your current health or drug plan is the best one for you.
And you got to make sure your drugs are covered. That's important.
So is saving money.
Review all your options at Medicare.gov. Open enrollment ends December 7th. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
You're listening to Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. 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 King Folly, drop the beat. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to the me. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to the me. KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580. Liz King, former Education Equity Senior Program Director for the Leadership Conference on Civil Rights, a position she held from 2015 to 2025. In this role, Ms. King led the organization's work to ensure that all students are fully included in welcoming schools from early childhood through post-secondary education to prepare them for college, careers, life, and the full exercise of their social, political, and economic rights. Liz, welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show.
Always great to be here. Always great to be here.
Liz, can I pivot to education for a moment?
Of course, always.
But I do want to start with electoral matters with respect to education. Are you seeing, I know everyone in the world is running for Congress. I know everybody wants to be a senator. I get it. Everybody wants to be president and only one person gets the job. In fact, it's more difficult to get a position on an NBA basketball team. It's easier to be president of the United States, to become a professional basketball player or even a professional football player. That the odds that you beat a few Democrats and then beat a few Republicans and then have a contest between two people to become president of the United States, it's actually more likely that you'll become president of the United States than to be the successor to Michael Jordan. There's just no doubt about that. My question is, with all of this activity taking place at the top, Liz, do we see this same kind of activity taking place at the school board level, at the local political level, where the thoughts, the minds, the activities of our children do matter in 2026 as well?
I mean, first of all, everyone should run for something. So I think that is something I want all your listeners to hear, that if they've ever thought about it, now is the time. It is a moment. It is the need to restore democracy. And I know you're going to be talking with Barbara Arnwine, who's going to be delivering the same message about the state of our democracy. So yes, we can never have enough candidates for office, but I think you're absolutely right that we need to be thinking about all of these offices and the ways in which they shape our lives. I think a lot of us were caught by surprise when there was a organized, well-funded school board takeover a few years ago, when there was an effort to politicize and weaponize school boards, to spread ignorance, to restrict access to knowledge and learning, and to reinforce a bigoted agenda in local communities. But we have seen a refutation of that agenda. We have seen that school boards in the most recent round of elections, a lot of them return to normalcy. They return to a focus on things like, student achievement and the social and emotional well-being of children in schools, and the need to help our children learn how to work together and work across lines of difference. So I think we are seeing some enthusiasm at the school board level. I hope we will see more. I hope we will see more and more candidates. I think we're hearing a lot about the need for a generational change in leadership. And it's a great, school board is a great opportunity, a great chance to learn about what's going on in the community, and really contribute to the minds, the development of minds in your own neighborhood. And so I think we will, and I hope we will, see more people considering school board races, county council races, and all of these different elected positions that we know really set the foundation for the political environment in which the president is elected.
Liz, I in this moment, as I'm listening to you, I'm thinking about the world that changed after Brown versus the Board of Education. I'm thinking that it wasn't, even though it was largely celebrated, the desegregation of schools because of the historical treatment of African Americans, but it also led to the Americans with Disabilities Act. It led to a number of other critical pieces of legislation that profoundly impacted the education environment in K through 12, 12 through 16, 16 through 20, every level of the education process. It wasn't just good for African Americans and women who were attending these institutions for the first time. Ultimately, it became good for America. We learned how to play sports together. We learned how to work together. We went to dinner together. We shared experiences together. We grew as a nation in ways that we didn't when we were separate and apart. Is there any sense that the future holds a return to that level of normalcy?
I mean, first of all, the cat is out of the bag. I think we are in a really difficult moment, but let's remember that those doors have been swung open, and they may try to close those doors. They may try and shut off that opportunity. But there is, now that we know what is possible, I think we are still seeing and reaping the benefits. There is no possible way that the United States would have experienced the economic growth it did if it had continued to be so committed to segregation. Racial segregation is a losing economic proposition. And I think, what we're seeing right now is an anti-merit agenda. It is an effort to restrict the number of people who are competing for college and university spots, for boardroom roles. And I think that what we're seeing is an effort to drag us back to a time where only a certain number of people had access, where only a certain number of people were able to bring their skills and talents to bear. So I think it is a very dangerous moment. It is a dangerous moment for our democracy, but I am optimistic that the benefits that we as a nation, that we as individuals and communities saw after the Brown decision, and then all of the follow-on laws, the Civil Rights Act of 1964 and the way that it prohibited discrimination on the basis of race, color, national origin, and sex in employment, and then all of the other laws that you referenced. I think we have seen the transformative benefit. We have seen the benefit, what it means when our science labs have scientists from all backgrounds, what it means when our boardrooms have executives from all backgrounds, what it means when our colleges and universities are led by individuals from all background. And there's an effort to shut that door. There's an effort to foreclose those opportunities. But I feel optimistic that we have learned the benefit of this, and we will not forget that lesson.
Liz, this is questionnaire season for candidates for public office, particularly for Congress of the United States. And I'm getting dozens of them. And I was reading this one on traditional family values. And to go back to my Fred Flintstone caveman kind of analogy, the more I read it, I concluded that this kind of Jurassic thinking has something to do with that infamous cartoon of a caveman with a club grabbing a woman by her hair and dragging her back into the cave. And when I read some of these questionnaires that speak about traditional family values, Black women in the federal government have taken a major hit by the cuts from Donald Trump. But women generally across the country, whether they are Black, white, brown, yellow, are being told to return home and away from pursuing the careers that we fought for everyone to be able to achieve equal opportunity. Are you sensing what I'm saying to be true? And shouldn't Democrats be stronger on the question of women and their rights going forward?
Absolutely. I mean, a whole lot of what is happening right now is that these white men are tired of competing with these excellent Black women. They just cannot handle it. They cannot compete on their own merit. And so what they're trying to do is close the door so they don't even have to deal with that anymore. They don't even have to deal with the fact that they are not remotely qualified for the roles they seek to hold. I think that's what we're seeing in these attacks on diversity, equity, inclusion, and accessibility is an effort to limit who is involved in the competition, which ideas have merit, and who has the opportunity to compete for these roles. I think you're absolutely right to invoke the attack on the federal workforce. We know that our non-discrimination laws have been more effectively enforced in the federal workforce. And that is why the federal workforce is as diverse as it is, because we have never been able to match in the private sector the level of compliance with non-discrimination. And so that has meant that federal employment was more available because of meaningful compliance with non-discrimination law. And so an attack on the federal workforce is intentionally, disproportionately an attack on Black office holders of all, Black scientists and Black bureaucrats and Black secretaries and everybody who makes up our federal government and makes our federal government run. But I think your point, men in general, I think too many men are uninterested in competing with too many women as a general matter. They want there to be fewer applicants for jobs. They want there to be fewer applicants for college. They just don't want to have to compete against women. And I think it is incredibly concerning the ways in which we are seeing these efforts to curtail women's voice, to curtail women's political power, and to curtail bodily autonomy. But we know that has never, those efforts to limit rights and opportunities have never, you attack one group and it always ends up splashing back on you. And so absolutely very concerning what we're seeing in the effort to limit women and their opportunities in our economy.
It's Tenacious Tuesdays on the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. When we come forward, Liz King, I hope she'll share with us her thoughts on the unemployment numbers that were recently released. The economy is in deep trouble, and her thoughts on a new priority, a new budget going forward when Democrats regain control. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr., listening to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. More with Liz King.
Are you stuck in traffic? We can at least bring you up to speed on the news of the day. You're listening to Jesse Jackson Jr. only on KBLA Talk 1580.
Established in 2020 during a time of deep racial unrest across our state and country, the Black Freedom Fund was created to make sure that leaders and organizations working to support Black communities and build power have the resources they need to stay in the fight for the long haul. We believe that those closest to the issues impacting our communities know best how to solve them. That's why in just the last 5 years, we've granted more than $45 million to over 200 grassroots organizations across California. That is the largest collective investment in Black organizing in history, and we're just getting started. We are clear-eyed and committed, more now than ever, to our people, our power, and our possibility. Join us in creating a future where Black people harness their full power to shape their lives and realize a just world for all. Learn more at fundblackfreedom.org. That's fundblackfreedom.org. The Black Freedom Fund is proud to sponsor Conversation Live Altadena Rising with James Farr on KBLA Talk 1580. It's never too early to start talking about money in realistic ways with your kids. JP Morgan Chase navigates how to educate your kids now about creating long-lasting, healthy money habits. Whether your kids are in elementary school, high school, or college, now is a great time to start a conversation about ways to create healthy money habits as they grow, ultimately benefiting their financial future. Talking about money in a realistic way to support your kids' lifestyle and dreams, your first banking account geared towards high school or college. It's never too early. Explaining the basics, what you earn and what you spend, building financial confidence starts with getting organized. Learning and practicing vital money skills now will stay with them for life. Tools they will have to stay on top of their finances and achieve their goals. This segment is sponsored by JP Morgan Chase.
My mom has decided to learn to paint, and she's good.
My dad's now into creative cuisine, and I've already put on 6 pounds.
Learning new things comes with age.
My mom, she started forgetting my name and what we're talking about.
Forgetting well-known things doesn't. Memory loss may be a sign of Alzheimer's disease. Early detection gives you and your loved one time to plan for the future. Learn the warning signs of Alzheimer's at 10signs.org. Brought to you by the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
This holiday season, KBLA Talk 1580 wishes you and yours joy, peace, and prosperity. As we celebrate with family and friends, we're already looking forward to an exciting first quarter, packed with must-attend events to kick off the new year just right. In January, join us for our inaugural Brotherhood Brunch, bringing together community leaders, change makers, and everyday people for inspiration and connection. February means it's time for our signature Black History Month luncheon, a powerful celebration you won't want to miss. And in March, Women's History Month, we're once again hosting our State of Black Women in Los Angeles Symposium and Luncheon, addressing the issues that matter most inside our community. From all of us at KBLA Talk 1580, happy holidays. Stay tuned for more details on these incredible upcoming events. KBLA Talk 1580, your voice, your community, your power.
Texting privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at textingterms.us. Texting enrolls you for recurring automated text marketing messages. Message and data rates may apply or price stopped. Opt out.
Hey man, how did the date go?
I had to cancel. I don't get paid until Friday.
You didn't know that you can get up to a $750 paycheck advance with the Current app?
Where was that information yesterday?
All you have to do is download the app, see if you qualify. $750. Boom.
You think I should call her back?
Yeah.
I'm going to do it.
All right.
Need money before payday? Current has you covered. Set up an eligible direct deposit to see if you qualify for a paycheck advance of up to $750. Get ahead with Current. Text ACTION to 323232 to sign up today. That's ACTION to 323232. ACTION to 323232. ACTION to 323232.
Paycheck advance is offered by FindCo Advance LLC, a financial technology company, not an FDIC-insured bank. Eligibility and available amounts may vary and are subject to change at any time. For full terms and conditions, visit current.com or call 1-888-851-3177 for more information.
1 year ago, flames tore through Altadena and Eaton Canyon, changing lives forever. From the ashes, can a beloved community rise stronger? Hi, I'm Dominique DePrima, host of First Things First, weekday mornings, 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. here on KBLA Talk 1580. And I'm inviting you to join us on Wednesday, January 7th, as we broadcast live from Perry's Joint on the 1-year anniversary of this horrific and devastating fire. We're remembering those we lost, celebrating the heroes and sheroes who answered the call, and honoring the resilience of neighbors who are determined to rebuild together.
I've been a strong Black woman a long time, and I can't just break down now.
Hear the stories of survival, the voices of recovery, the spirit of community that the fire couldn't destroy, and yes, the angst of those who still do not know where they go from here.
Yeah, where am I gonna go?
At KBLA Talk 1580, we don't just cover the story, we're part of this community. And we've done our level best to hold those responsible for this fire accountable. And 1 year later, we're still standing together.
It is my hopes that Black people will rebuild those homes.
So join us live at Perry's Joint, 2051 Lincoln Avenue in Pasadena, 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. on Wednesday, January 7th, as we commemorate the 1-year anniversary of the Altadena Eaton Canyon fire. Because some stories demand to be remembered.
This too shall pass.
Now back to more of Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk
The
1580.
Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. King Quality drop the beat. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to the me. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to the me. KBLA Talk 15.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. Welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. Our very special contributor in this hour has been Liz King. Liz, welcome forward to the show.
Thank you, Congressman. Always great to be here.
Liz, America's job market, according to CNN, just got some troubling news. The U.S. economy lost 105,000 jobs in October and added 64,000 jobs in November. The Bureau of Labor Statistics reported Tuesday the unemployment rate rose to a 4-year high of 4.6%. Almost all economic reports from the Bureau of Labor Statistics and the Census Bureau have been delayed due to the historically long federal government shutdown, which hamstrung data collection. But the October report now marks the first time in almost 8 decades that a monthly snapshot has not included the unemployment rate. The Census Bureau also reported October retail sales remain flat, the lowest reading in 5 months. I was at an event this past weekend where Dr. Janera Walters out of Kankakee County, Illinois, was speaking about education and the state of education. And I've got this theory after hearing her speak that I'd like to bounce off of you, that the 105,000 jobs that were lost in October and the 64,000 jobs that were gained are jobs that are shifting from the way in which we are teaching children K through 12, 12 through 16, and 16 through 20 to a very different economy than the ones that we were preparing them for in K through 20. Meaning, at least from my perspective, in this AI high-tech environment, we are not training most Americans for a future that is inevitable. That education itself is not keeping up with where the job market is going. And ultimately, that can only lead to tremendous disparities in wealth, in home ownership, in savings down the road that, well, that this administration and that future administrations, this administration is not contending with, and future administrations absolutely will have to. Liz, your thoughts on the shifting economy?
Absolutely. I mean, the short-sightedness of so many of our policies. I think one big frustration I have about the jobs data we've seen today, we have not yet seen the analysis I think we need to see, which is the true cost of the agenda of bigotry and discrimination we have seen. We know that bigotry and discrimination are bad for the economy. And I think that that is one of the analyses that I'm hoping to see. We know, for example, that there have been massive cuts to programs that provide economic opportunity for disadvantaged farmers, for disadvantaged small businesses. These are the drivers of our economy. These are the employers. And so I hope we see more of that analysis. But I think you're absolutely right that we need an education agenda that is about keeping current, expanding opportunity. We need to make sure that not only do children have the foundational skills of reading and math, but they are positioned to lead in the economy of the future. And, you know, we're seeing with the student loan crisis, we're seeing with this federal policy agenda that it's about closing doors and limiting opportunity is going to exacerbate these inequalities, exacerbate these problems. I also hope what we see is a commitment in our economy and a commitment in our education system to providing for those roles that will never be displaced by AI, which again brings us back to your point around the care economy. And we need to make sure that we have those people who are educated to help us all to care for an aging population and ensure dignity and opportunity, aging in place, for example. And I think all of these pieces need to come together. We need to make sure that people have access to basic skills that enable them to be consumers of information. We need access, the foundational access to high-tech careers, and then ensuring our care economy, that we are preparing the educators for the future. All of that, I think there's a lot of work to be done. And to your point earlier, we need to see presidential candidates who are committed to an ambitious agenda on day one that will solve these problems and really move us forward into the future while they repair so much of the harm that has been done.
There is a huge bubble of Americans that are passing through our system as we speak, who are going to change the trajectory of each of our lives. We may have the best of plans as college students, as lawyers, as doctors, as professional people, and then our parents are going to age. Something is going to happen that's going to force a change in your career, a change in your life savings, maybe even the source of your own wealth, your home, may have to be mortgaged to provide care for a loved one. There is no doubt in my mind that this kind of discussion needs to take place with national vision. With that said, Liz, I do want to ask you for a word of hope. I'm so excited that you're with us. My prayers are that you're with us for a very, very long time. Liz King, a word of hope to the top of the hour.
Even when the ground is frozen, when we plant new trees, we trust that they will grow and they will offer nourishment and shade and care for decades and decades and generations to come. So it is always worth it to plant trees in the frozen soil.
I have to remind myself that Liz is also a seminarian and a seminary graduate, so she gives thought to these very profound, reflective questions, even in the context of policy. Liz, welcome to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. You know you're always here, and you're always in our hearts and prayers. Happy holidays.
I'll see you soon. Thank you, Congressman.
Look forward to it. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr., listening to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. It's Tenacious Tuesdays. And when we come forward, it gets even more tenacious with attorney Barbara Arnwine when we come forward. Thank you, Liz.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Amber Payton with BIN News Now. Black New York City Mayor Eric Adams is highlighting major wins as his term ends, pointing to reduced crime, more affordable housing, and no income tax for low-income residents.
And I'm leaving back a proud record.
His dropped federal corruption case raised eyebrows, with some accusing him of cutting a deal tied to Trump's immigration crackdown. Erica Kirk and Candace Owens called their first meeting productive after a lengthy conversation on Monday. They clarified past tensions and found more common ground than expected. Kirk, now CEO of Turning Point USA, hinted there's more to come from both. And the new owner of Michael Jordan's Highland Park mansion wants to turn it into a museum. Developer John Cooper unveiled the plan called Champions Point, sparking debate over traffic and noise. Supporters say it honors Jordan's legacy and boosts the local economy. A city committee voted 4-3 to keep the idea moving forward. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Compassion sponsorship means food, healthcare, education, and most of all, being known, loved, and protected. There are thousands of kids waiting over a year. End their wait. Sponsor a child with compassion today. Text the word radio to 83393.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
A troubling season for the Clippers continues to generate more misery. They lost to Memphis last night, 121-103. 4 straight losses for the Clippers, who now have lost 8 straight at home. The Clippers haven't won a home game since October 31st against New Orleans. The loss to Memphis drops the Clippers to 6-20. If it wasn't for a 5-22 New Orleans, the Clippers would be at the bottom of the Western Conference. The Lakers are off until Thursday night in Utah at 18-7. The Lakers have the 3rd best record in the West. Luka Doncic still leads the NBA in scoring with 34.7 points per game. The Rams will not have wide receiver Devontae Adams for Thursday night's showdown game at Seattle. Adams suffered a strained hamstring in Sunday's win over Detroit. The Rams are considering resting Adams for the final 3 regular season games to make sure he's healthy for the playoffs. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
This holiday season, KBLA Talk 1580 wishes you and yours joy, peace, and prosperity. As we celebrate with family and friends, we're already looking forward to an exciting first quarter, packed with must-attend events to kick off the new year just right. In January, join us for our inaugural Brotherhood Brunch, bringing together community leaders, change makers, and everyday people for inspiration and connection. February means it's time for our signature Black History Month luncheon, a powerful celebration you won't want to miss. And in March, Women's History Month, we're once again hosting our State of Black Women in Los Angeles Symposium and Luncheon, addressing the issues that matter most inside our community. From all of us at KBLA Talk 1580, happy holidays. Stay tuned for more details on these incredible upcoming events. KBLA Talk 1580, your voice, your community, your power.
Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. Oh, 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 the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. Oh, 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 the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. Oh, 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 the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. Oh, oh, come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. KBLA. Talk 1580. Download the app.
It's Tuesday, Tenacious Tuesday on the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show, where we have Liz King in the first hour, and in the second hour, none other than attorney Barbara Arnwine, president and founder of the Transformative Justice Coalition, and is internationally renowned for contributions on critical justice issues, including the passage of the landmark Civil Rights Act of 1991 and the 2006 reauthorization of provisions of the Voting Rights Act. Currently, she also serves as co-chair and facilitator of the National Commission for Voter Justice, the Millennial Votes Matters convenings, and the Voting Rights Act Alliance. She was the head of the Lawyers Committee for Civil Rights under Law from February 1989 until June 2015 and holds the honorific title of President Emeritus. Attorney Barbara Arnwine, welcome forward to our show.
It is so good to be here. How are you?
Missing you, Barbara. Let me just share with you in this moment. I'm thinking that Dr. King left us with a question. Where do we go from here? Chaos or community? And every day it's like chaos or confusion from the Trump administration. Barbara, help us get back to community.
You know, to get to community, it is true that this period that we're going through is turbulent, it's chaotic, but it's deliberate, everybody. That's what I want everyone to understand. I've been reading this awesome book. In fact, I'm so enthralled by it that I'm going to actually do a book club on it. And this is Without Precedents. It is how Chief Justice Roberts and his accomplices rewrote the Constitution and dismantled our rights. What it lays out is that everything we're seeing, as chaotic and crazy looking as it is an agenda. It's a deliberate agenda. Did you have any idea? Because I didn't know. I mean, it's not a new agenda, folks. It goes just like Project 2025. It goes all the way back to the Reagan era. But that's not really how far back it goes. It goes really all the way back to the Confederacy. And this is all part of that neo-Confederacy movement, but also is part of, some of his, Nazi fascism, influence from the 30s. And I want people to be very clear that it is not accidental. It may look like there's accidents happening. It may look chaotic, but that's what their efforts for change look like. They are actually, despite everything happening, they are succeeding with this agenda. And this court, this Roberts Court, has opened the doorways. And folks, if we're talking about the court this week, get ready for next week. Because we're looking for any day now for this court to issue the Calais decision. Everybody's on alert. It is expected this week. And everybody's on alert. Everybody's trying to get ready for it. And what do they always do, Jesse? Come on, what do they always do? When do they release their worst opinions?
In the dead of night, I think, or holidays. Yeah.
Summer recesses.
Just in time to get out of town.
You got it. You got it. They know what they doing this wrong, so they go hiding. And they know where they can't be held accountable, where nobody's going to drag them up before Congress or anything else and try to make them account for themselves.
Barbara,
they always do this.
Barbara, let me ask you a quick question. We have about 2 minutes before we come forward.
Yes.
What is the best case scenario that we can get out of Calais, and what is the worst case?
Ooh.
And if we have to wait till after we come forward, we can go down that road. We've got 3 minutes, Gina's telling me right now.
Yes. The worst case scenario is that they really severely restrict the Voting Rights Act, and that they say that majority minority districts are unconstitutional. That's the worst case. The best case scenario is that they would do the status quo. They ain't doing that. They made that quite clear. They're not going to do the status quo. The other best case scenario is that they do some kind of tinkering around the edges of the Anderson case from last year, the South Carolina case. That would be kind of like a little bit better, but not good. And that they build in all this kind of deference to the good faith of the existing state legislators.
That'll be the day.
Right.
That'll be the day.
But that's what they're going to talk about. And they're going to try to revive the Mobile versus Bolden case. They're going to try to undo the jingle principles. And they're going to try to come up with an intent standard. Something that looks so close to intent. It looks like it, quacks like it, walks like it. That's what we should expect. That's what they're up to.
The short and skinny is the plaintiffs would have to prove that the legislature at the state level intended to racially discriminate.
That's where they want to go back to. Remember, that was the Bolden standard, and Congress overturned it. But the Jingles, after the Thornburg versus Jingles case, Congress adopted those as what's called the Senate factors. They took the Jingles factors and made them the Senate factors, and said that you do not have to prove intent in order to attack a racial gerrymander. But I think they're going to try to get back to as close to Bolden as they can.
Barbara, we have just a few seconds before we come forward. Does that mean then that state legislatures could reconsider the drawing of congressional districts?
That's what they are hoping for. There's a new report out, everybody, from and I'll show it at the when we come back. There's a major report out from Black Voters Matters. If you haven't seen it, it is a shockingly strong report, and it talks about how 119 current Black seats in state legislatures, not just Congress, but state legislatures, will be affected by this Calais decision.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr., listening to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. It's all business today on our show with Tenacious Tuesdays on the Grind with Barbara Arnwine. More when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
It's afternoon drive time with Jesse Jackson Jr. Only on KBLA Talk 1580.
I got the champagne. Everybody can blast.
KBLA Talk 1580 congratulates our own Keith Underwood, host of the weekend entertainment show Black in the Green Room, on his recent honor at the annual National Arts and Entertainment Journalism Awards. Keith received a first place award presented by the Los Angeles Press Club for his entertainment reporting, and we couldn't be prouder. Congratulations, Keith, from all of us at KBLA Talk 1580.
I can't believe how spotless my floors look after using the Swiffer Power Mop. No more dragging around a heavy mop and messy bucket. Now I get the same deep clean without all the work. Thanks to the powerful solution and scrubbing pad of the Swiffer Power Mop, dirt and grime don't stand a chance, and I don't break a sweat. Mic drop. Mop drop.
Swiffer Power Mop. Swiffer Power Mop.
A smarter way to mop. Try it or your money back.
Celebrate good times. Come on.
KBLA Talk 1580 congratulates Malik Books on celebrating 35 years in business.
It's a celebration.
Malik Books proudly houses one of the largest African American and diverse children's books in the nation. This is the perfect time to pick up holiday reads, meaningful gifts, and to support literacy in our community. For 35 years, Malik Books has stood strong in the Black Book Revolution, uplifting stories that heal, inspire, and transform. One reader at a time. Change your thoughts, change your life. Books are the gift that keeps giving. From all of us at KBLA Talk 1580, congratulations to Malik Books on 35 years of culture, pride, and community.
The holidays mean more travel, more shopping, more time online, and more personal info in more places that could expose you more to identity theft. But LifeLock monitors millions of data points per second. If your identity is stolen, our US-based restoration specialists will fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Don't face drained accounts, fraudulent loans, or financial losses alone. Get more holiday fun and less holiday worry with LifeLock. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code NEWS. Visit LifeLock.com. Terms apply.
Your ambition just met its match with Robinhood. Trade stocks and ETFs, options, futures, and crypto all on one platform. Get started today at Robinhood.com/yourmoney. Your money, your move. All investments involve risk, including loss of principal. Options, futures, and crypto trading carry significant risk and may not suit all investors. Securities offered through Robinhood Financial LLC, member SIPC. Futures trading is offered by Robinhood Derivatives LLC, not FDIC or SIPC protected. Crypto offered through Robinhood Crypto LLC, NMLS ID 1702840, not FDIC or SIPC protected. Portfolio management offered by Robinhood Strategies, an SEC registered advisor.
Now back to more of Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. 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 King Volley, drop the beat. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. KBLA Talk 1580. Download the app.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. Welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. It's Tenacious Tuesdays, where we are always on the grind with Barbara Arnwine. She is the president of the Transformative Justice Coalition. Barbara, welcome forward to the show.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. There's just so much going on, so much to talk about.
I just got to tell you, I'm honored to be on your show. But just before we get to that long list of things,
yeah, my show. CEO counting down and doing all this other stuff. That's all right. That is so wrong. My show. I can't hear you.
I just wanted to add that Thornburg versus Gingles, 478 U.S. 30, 1986, was a United States Supreme Court case in which the unanimous court found that the legacy of official discrimination acted in concert with the multi-member districting scheme to impair the ability of, quote, cohesive groups of Black voters to participate equally in the political process and to elect candidates of their choice, unquote. The ruling resulted in the invalidation of districts in the North Carolina General Assembly and led to more single-member districts in state legislatures. Barbara, you blew my mind just before we came forward. I've been focusing, and I have a standing bet with you that half of the 62 members of the Congressional Black Caucus, depending upon the outcome of the Clay decision, may not be there in 2028. That's a bet. But now you're telling me we could lose 100 plus African Americans in state legislatures.
191. I was
200.
I did an inversion. 191. Here's the report, everyone. It's from Black Voters Matters, and it's called the. Let me see. My camera loves to do that, but it's called the Southern State Legislative Effect. It's brand new, hot off the press. Louisiana versus Calais, the Supreme Court case that could decimate fair representation in state legislatures. Folks, here it is. You got to get a copy of it. Get it as soon as you can. And he thinks I want to, but there it goes. Please, everybody. This is the report we got to do.
Is this something we can download, or is this something that's on?
Oh, yes, you can download it for free. That's what I did.
Okay, so it's called again, the report?
It's from Black Voters Matters, and it's called the Southern State Legislature Effect.
Okay, we need to download that, everybody. And Barbara, before we get,
can I read some highlights from it?
Can read whatever you like, please.
Okay, here's a couple of highlights. Get ready, folks. Our initial report found that gutting Section 2, which is the anti-discrimination provisions of the Voting Rights Act, could secure Republicans 19 more safe U.S. House seats. 19 more safe U.S. House seats, enough to significantly undercut Black and Latino representation in Congress and cement long-term one-party control. That's all they want, by the way. It's one-party, GOP domination forever. Even if Democrats win the popular vote. That's Congress. But check this out. If Section 2 fails, GOP legislatures across 10 southern states could redraw maps to decimate fair representation and minority political power in state legislatures while entrenching Republican power. Specifically, our new analysis finds that GOP legislatures could eliminate approximately 191 state legislative seats currently held by Democrats, the vast majority of which are held by Black representatives in majority minority districts. Final point, because this is a great report and people should get it. And it got to break your back to read it. It's not that long, but it's a really strong report. Across the South, the number of legislative districts where Black or Hispanic voters are a majority of the voting age population could drop from 342 to 202, or 2 of every 5 such districts. Did you hear me?
Repeat it one more time.
All right. Across the South, the number of legislative districts where Black or Hispanic voters are a majority of the voting age population could drop from 342 to 202, or 2 of every 5 such districts. I said from the beginning, Calais is an attack on Black political power. It is an attempt to block it, destroy it. It's there. And remember, one thing you and I have been talking about since the first time I was on your show, we've been talking about the redemption era. That era immediately after the Hayes-Tilden Compromise.
Redeemers.
Right. And, the destruction of Black political power after the Civil War, after, the little period of Reconstruction and the destruction of Reconstruction era. Here's what this report also says. The Supreme Court's far-right majority is echoing tactics used by the Redemption Court after Reconstruction, using neutral arguments to dismantle civil rights protections and usher in the Jim Crow era.
So let me scratch my head for a minute. I didn't realize, and I kind of been hinting at it for the year that we've been on the radio, that that the end of first Reconstruction was a gradual process of both state legislative, congressional compromises, as well as court actions.
There you
and
go.
We woke up one day and we were all gone.
All gone.
So
all gone.
What I'm hearing from you, Barbara, is in this moment that there is no definitive date when second Reconstruction comes to an end, but we are in the slow drip and it is picking up speed to bring second Reconstruction to an end as we speak. And that we will quickly, by definition, without state legislative protection and no protection from federal troops, withdrawing federal law and federal troop. I don't mean ICE agents. I'm talking about the ones who protected the freedmen and their right to vote.
Yes.
We are quickly, without federal law, which is the equivalent of federal troops being in these states to protect us, we are quickly moving into some form of Jim Crow 2.0.
And worse than that, right? Because the one thing that I found so intriguing about Lisa Gray's book, Without Precedents, on the Roberts Court, and it really is the Roberts Court, about what John Roberts is, the agenda that he's following, which is nothing more than an oligarchical vision of America, because that's what we've got to talk about. That is not just the second coming of the Confederacy and all the white supremacist madness, but also they believe 100% and are funded by oligarchs. It talks about all this Supreme Court corruption. Look at all the money that these justices have been getting from who, folks? Oligarchs, billionaires who have been funding them. And she does a good job in this book of showing after some decisions are rendered, Jesse, she shows how the money flows and who benefits from the money flow. That once they give these oligarchs what they wanted, how they then reward members not only of the court, but how they really reward, some of their advocates like Leonard Leo and others. One thing she does here that blew my mind, because I sat across from this man called C. Boyden Gray. I sat across from him when we were arguing for the restoration of the 1964 Civil Rights Act and what we were trying to then call the Civil Rights Act of 1990. And it goes into his family. And Jesse, these are people who were firm Confederates and never gave up. Never gave up during the 1940s when Truman was trying to desegregate. In the 50s, trying to desegregate the military. They were in there undermining it, his family. And it's like, they pass this evil on from generation to generation. We will come back. We will beat us. We will dominate again. We will put those N words in their places. I mean, this is who these people are. We make a mistake thinking that they're just white supremacists. They're also captured, totally captured and beholden to the oligarchs.
The book is Without Precedent by Lisa Graves, How Chief Justice Roberts and His Accomplices Rewrote the Constitution and Dismantled Our Rights. Barbara, I'm certainly hopeful that you'll bring part of your book club on Without Precedent to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show.
Let's do that.
Listen, this show is absolutely yours. Barbara, is there any concern that we should have? Because I was listening to a Facebook post the other day, one of these, I think a TikTok version, that, and I want to think it was by one of the prominent African-American pollsters, who was like just sounding the negative news on how everything without the Supreme Court that we have fought for is dead, that we simply have to have the court on our side, interpretively on the question of the Constitution, and that we took our movement took its eyes off of the court itself. And hence, we don't care if the Heritage Foundation has lists of candidates that are in kindergarten right now that they're grooming to be on the Supreme Court. Maybe the Brennan Center, maybe the National Bar Association or the American Bar Association, or maybe Harvard might give birth to some progressives for the court. But we don't think interpretively about how these federal judges have the final say over our liberties and freedoms.
Well, it's fascinating. It's always, ever since I stepped foot into the DC as a civil rights, quote, leader, ever since I did that in 1989, I've been taken by how naive our side is. Check this out, everybody. In 2000, when the fight for Bush versus Gore was going on, there was somebody who was dispensed and somebody who was sent down to Florida to fight to make sure that the full vote would never happen. Because if the full vote had happened, Bush would have lost. And who was sent to be part of the legal team, his name was John Roberts. But guess else who was there? Try a Brett Kavanaugh. Try a Amy Coney Barrett. They were all part of the same legal team in 2000.
Wow.
The die of this wool has been cast for a long time. It didn't just happen in this, quote, MAGA era. MAGA is an evolution of this white supremacist, oligarchical, hate-filled, new movement. But its die was cast.
Barbara, what you've made clear to us is that this is a plan, that it is a plan. It is a long operated plan.
There you go.
Maybe, now you're going to be mad at me when I say this, though. But I'm not aware, and I think I'm pretty close to the politics of a lot of things. I'm not aware of the big progressive democratic plan that's been in operation since we passed the Civil Rights Act.
Well, it's worse than that. It's worse than that.
Okay,
when
Barbara, how bad is it?
Sorry, I'm going to bring it. When I said to my board, when I was at the Lawyers Committee, I said we cannot confirm Roberts. We cannot support him. In fact, we need to oppose him because John Roberts is part of a cabal. They have an agenda. They want to destroy the Civil Rights Act. They want to destroy the Voting Rights Act. That's all he ever has done in his life is talk about destroying the Voting Rights Act.
Barbara, but do we have a cabal? Do we have a cabal? Am I missing the meeting? Am I not getting an invitation?
No, hold on. Let me finish.
Okay.
Let me finish.
Okay.
And when I said that, I had members of my board say, oh, John Roberts is a good man. I've been to his house for dinner.
Barbara, I gotta go. I'm Jesse Jackson. We'll talk about Barbara with her friends at John Roberts' house when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
It's afternoon drive time with Jesse Jackson Jr. Only on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Amber Payton with BIN News Now. House Republicans have unveiled a health care bill that excludes an extension of Obamacare subsidies, which are set to expire at year's end.
The Lower Health Care Premiums for All Americans Act, which will be on the floor tomorrow, is the first big step to lower premium cost.
Speaker Mike Johnson says he expects no Democrat support. Without action, premiums could spike for 22 million Americans. Whoopi Goldberg is slamming President Trump for his, quote, shameful, end quote, comments about the late Rob Reiner and his wife, Michelle, after their tragic deaths. On The View, she called out his lack of empathy after he claimed Reiner died from, quote, Trump derangement syndrome, end quote. And Donna Summer, the queen of disco, has been posthumously inducted into the Songwriters Hall of Fame. Known for hits like Love to Love You Baby and I Feel Love, she was honored at a Los Angeles ceremony attended by her husband and daughters. I'm Amber Payton with BIN News Now.
Compassion sponsorship means food, healthcare, education, and most of all, being known, loved, and protected. There are thousands of kids waiting over a year. End their wait. Sponsor a child with compassion today. Text the word radio to 83393.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
A troubling season for the Clippers continues to generate more misery. They lost to Memphis last night, 121-103. 4 straight losses for the Clippers, who now have lost 8 straight at home. The Clippers haven't won a home game since October 31st against New Orleans. The loss to Memphis drops the Clippers to 6-20. If it wasn't for 5-22 New Orleans, the Clippers would be at the bottom of the Western Conference. The Lakers are off until Thursday night in Utah at 18-7. The Lakers have the 3rd best record in the West. Luka Doncic still leads the NBA in scoring with 34.7 points per game. The Rams will not have wide receiver Devontae Adams for Thursday night's showdown game at Seattle. Adams suffered a strained hamstring in Sunday's win over Detroit. The Rams are considering resting Adams for the final 3 regular season games to make sure he's healthy for the playoffs. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
I'm Reverend Gerald, the life coach. Is someone you love struggling with addiction and mental illness? Is improving your family's health important? Want to leave a legacy that your family can grow? Are you ready to enhance your perception of life experiences? Then wake up weekends at 7 a.m. with Urban Family Focus and get the wisdom, opportunity, resources, and motivation to live your best life. Join the conversation on Urban Family Focus Saturday and Sunday at 7 a.m.
Unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black.
So you need last-minute gifts. No judgment. Get an extra 25% off during Kohl's Friends and Family Sale and find great gifts under $20. Like something cozy, something thoughtful, something that says you planned this all along. Yep, you're just one quick trip away from checking off the last gifts on your list. Save now at Kohl's and Kohl's.com. Select styles. Offer ends December 24th. Some exclusions apply. See store or Kohl's.com for details.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues?
Who are you?
Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
With the new IHOP value menu, $6 is all it takes to go to your happy place, where stacks of pancakes with bacon and eggs are just $6 every day. French toast, sausage, and eggs are, you guessed it, $6. And fluffy omelets come with a side of pancakes and only cost $6. Go to your happy place every day at IHOP. $7 in some locations. Available every day for a limited time at participating restaurants in the U.S. Hours may vary. No substitutions. Not valid with other discounts or promotions. Prices may vary.
This is the story of the one. As the purchasing manager at a manufacturing plant, she knows the only thing more important than having the right safety gear is having it there when you need it. That's why she partners with Grainger for auto reordering, so her team members can count on her to have cut-resistant gloves on hand, and each shift can run safely and efficiently. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
An official message from Medicare.
Couple more minutes, and we'll start this month's book club.
You know, I usually love a plot twist, but this year, I'm comparing my options during Medicare open enrollment.
You can't assume your current health or drug plan is the best one for you.
And you got to make sure your drugs are covered. That's important.
So is saving money.
Review all your options at Medicare.gov. Open enrollment ends December 7th. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
You're listening to Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. 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 King Folly, drop the beat. Come on and talk
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. Welcome to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. It's Tenacious Tuesdays. Welcome to Season 2, lighting it up with Barbara Arnwine. We're on the grind with the president of the Transformative Justice Coalition. Barbara, welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show.
Thank you for having me.
Barbara, just before we took our little break, you were talking about one of your friends who's a friend of John Roberts.
A board member. And was telling me, oh, John, he's really a wonderful guy. You know, I've been to his home for dinner. I've helped him with his, he had this little project where he would go to black schools and help clean up the school. And I've been on that project. So he cares about, black children's futures. I said, what are you talking about with this oblee madness? Are you crazy? But I lost that fight. My board would not back me in opposing John Roberts. And, I knew then that there was, a splitting of the ways coming when I saw this happen. But it was, so ugly. But that's the way guess who voted for John Roberts, y'all? Guess who voted for him?
I gotta believe a lot of Democrats did,
including Senator Leahy, who was chair of the committee, of the Senate Judiciary Committee.
Barbara, why do we do that?
Because I used to scream. I'll tell you, one of the worst encounters I ever had in my life was when the Obama administration came in. I sat down with the judicial, part of the transition committee, and I worked with them. And I said, listen, this is what you got to do to get your people through, to make sure that you're going to be able to impact the court. Here's what you got to do. Went through it. They were all like, yeah, that makes sense. That's all wonderful. The saddest day in my life, when I really, for the first time and the only time I've ever hit a wall in my life, just like my whole body just, ran into a wall, was when I sat in the White House and was told that they weren't going to be able to get their judicial nominees through because they hadn't done what we said. And I was so angry. I just could not. I mean, sometimes when something is so horrifying, because you understand the long-term implications, because I didn't understand. I wasn't talking about just one seat. I knew what this would mean for the court for the entire future of decades. And when I talked to people afterwards, after I hit this wall, because I went into a deep, don't talk to me, don't touch me, period, where all I could see was just, literally black in front of my eyes. I was so angry. And finally, when I came out of it, I talked to one of the people who had been on the transition team, and I said, why did this happen? When we knew it could happen and we were to have prevented it from happening. And they said, because Rahm Emanuel doesn't give a S about judges. I said, but how could Hillary? I was thinking, I went
Rahm
back.
Emanuel doesn't give a S about what now?
Judges.
What does this mean? What does S mean?
You know what S means. I ain't saying it. You know what it means. You get bad.
Not Rahm Emanuel. I don't foul mouth Rahm.
On TV. That's on radio. You know better. And not only that, I said, wait a minute. Hillary and Bill, both attorneys, didn't do what they should have done about judges. Here we are with Obama and Michelle, both attorneys, and they're gonna just capitulate and let this happen. Folks, it was disastrous. And I'm talking about early in that first term. This is second term. He did, he got a break. He was lucky. He got a break, got to appoint some people, and was able to get some things done, except for, some stuff at the end. And, and I always disagreed with that administration over black, not putting a black woman on the court. There was all kind of stuff. I had issues with them. And Merrick Garland, don't get me started. So anyway, but
Barbara, these people are consistent over time, Barbara. Barbara, these people are consistent over time.
And they tell you who they are. And you won't believe
our people, Barbara. Let me give a little critique of us for a moment. We take these, when I look at history from 1619 to the present, there's these minutes, these moments where we trust them so much, we let our guard down. We have these relaxation periods of the illusion of progress. And there's this struggle, then there's these periods where there's a cool off, and maybe some Barbara Arnwine will be out here raising hell. Maybe some Jesse Jackson will be out here raising hell.
Or doing it together.
Oh, me and you and Rev. They call us crazy, right?
Right.
And everything catches up to crazy.
Yes.
And we're not so crazy no more because we've been saying it all along.
Yes.
And we're not prepared to deal with what we were led to believe was their willingness to come to terms with a change in behavior. They're not going to change their behavior. And there's only so far liberals are going to go to buttress the progress that we make. I mean, listen, Barbara. A lot of the liberal establishment is as shocked as they can be at what's happening.
Yes.
You and I are not.
Not at all.
Not at all shocked, but they are. And many of the things they proposed for the last 50 years were temporary in origin, including but not limited to Roe versus Wade, 1973. There are Congresses, and there were plenty of them, that never passed legislation to strengthen Roe versus Wade. Barbara, am I missing something here?
It's our opponents go for broke. They go for broke every time. And we go for a little salve here and there. A little Band-Aid here and there. But they go for broke. They want the whole thing. Right now, they're going for one-party control forever. That's their whole obsession. They want an imperial presidency so that nobody, not even a Congress, can check their agenda. They want an agenda whereby there is no democracy. These are anti-democracy forces. I've been saying this since 2011. Your dad gave me the best platform ever to tell the world about it. It helped us to win, 2012 in the sense of, stopping them a little bit. But the problem is that if you only think these are your friends being bad actors, if you're willing to, quote, reach across the aisle at all expense, if you're willing to think, oh, they just got it wrong here and there. If that, because you party with them, you hang out with them, you golf with them, so you think they're good people. I mean, once I mean, this is so ugly. And you say, how did, Nazi Germany happen? And I'm watching it happen. So I just want people to understand that when you talk about the Democratic Party, if they're not an opposition party, they're nothing. And they don't know how to be an opposition party. An opposition party is an opposition party. It's not just that we all vote together. That opposition party understands that the people across the aisle are your enemies. They're not your friends. And that's where the error is. We keep thinking that. We keep thinking people get in front of this Roberts Court and think they can somehow appeal to his better judgment. This man got an agenda. It's not about better judgment. They think that they can appeal to his sense of fairness. He don't care about no fairness. He's talking about his agenda. When he went to work with Rehnquist, he already had an agenda. You know what Rehnquist did? And Rehnquist, is on record with some of his little ugly, racist madness. But they made him Chief Justice of the court, and they made Roberts Chief Justice.
When we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580, we're going to talk about, for just a moment, how we can support the Transformative Justice Coalition and KBLA on Talk 1580. More when we come forward on the.
While you're stuck in traffic, we can at least bring you up to speed on the news of the day. You're listening to Jesse Jackson Jr. only on KBLA Talk 1580.
Looking for a purposeful and passionate way to make a difference in your community? Volunteer with our Senior Medicare Patrol and help prevent Medicare fraud. SMP volunteers work in their community educating peers about healthcare fraud and how to prevent and detect it. Free training starts soon. Check us out online or at an SMP open house near you. We're on a mission to stop fraud. Join our team. You make a difference. Visit caspvolunteer.org.
250 years ago, a promise was made to connect families and friends near and far. And during the holidays, that promise is more important than ever. That's why USPS is building a better network to meet your needs with timely deliveries, easy and affordable ways to ship, and everything you need to make your season full of holiday cheer. Our purpose is delivering your peace of mind, knowing your love will arrive, bringing joy to all. The United States Postal Service. Learn more at USPS.com/holidays.
Target's last-minute deals are here, right on time to get you holiday ready in no time. Snack beauty gift sets for every style, the hottest toys, can't miss entertainment, crowd-pleasing candy, and much more. All under $20. Whether you're hosting or welcoming surprise guests, you'll be ready for all of it for less. Grab them now before they're gone. Last-minute deals under $20. Happening now, only at Target. Restrictions apply.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 reminds you, when we fight, we win. The Youth Justice Coalition is challenging America's addiction to incarceration and discrimination. YJC works to dismantle policies leading to mass incarceration, law enforcement violence, and the school-to-prison pipeline. Their approach, transformative justice, community intervention, free LA high school, legal defense, and system monitoring. YJC promotes safety without relying on prisons. Their goal, prevent system contact and help people exit the system through direct action, advocacy, and education. Want to get involved or need help? Call 323-235-4243. That's 323-235-4243. Join YJC in creating change. When we fight, we win. KBLA Talk 1580, your voice for justice. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Hey there, Los Angeles. This is James Lucky Jr., publisher and editor of Los Angeles News Observer. Are you hungry for news that matters to you in the African-American communities of Los Angeles? Well, buckle up, because we got the scoop you've been craving. Stay in the know and never miss a beat with our free weekly publications conveniently available near you. Or hop on the digital wave and become an exclusive subscriber at OGNSC.com. Don't forget to join the party on Instagram and Twitter at OGNSCINC for behind-the-scenes access and sizzling updates. No more FOMO. Let's stay informed, connected, and empowered together.
Find what you love, love what you find. A Total Wine and More. There's so much waiting for you. Spirits and beer, thousands of wines, guides in the know, and prices so low, it just might blow your mind. You're gonna find what you love and love what you find.
With curbside pickup and delivery available, you'll always find what you love, only at Total Wine & More.
Drink responsibly, B21. Now back to more of Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. 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 King Folly, drop the beat. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to the me. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to the me. KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. Welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. This is the second season, the first anniversary of Jesse Jackson Jr. Show, and we are now. Thank you, Barbara. Thank you, Barbara. You made this possible here on KBLA Talk 1580. You want to do me a favor? Put KBLA under your Christmas tree this year. Stop by the station in Leimert Park. You can Google us, find out the address. I know you're not shopping at Target. I know you're not shopping at all these places we're not supposed to be shopping at. So you should have a little bit of disposable income and dispose of it over here at KBLA, because KBLA is truly free and truly independent to allow us to have the kinds of conversations that we have, from Dominique DePrima to our leader Tavis Smiley's show, to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show, all the way to Nee Quarterly Corte, our White House correspondent. We need your support. We need your help. Keep our voices free and keep us independent. I think you contribute on our website as well at KBLA. And so please give consideration to that. Barbara, how can we support the Transformative Justice Coalition and your work?
You can go to tjcoalition.org, tjcoalition.org, and make a donation at the amount that you can afford to make and that you want to make. Help us to do this work, because I'm not up here, as Jesse will tell you, just talking. Because we intend to be in these streets.
He's not doing that. Barbara is busy. Barbara, give me that information one more time. How can we support your work?
Please contribute to the Transformative Justice Coalition at tjcoalition.org. That is our website. You'll find a donation. Donate. Help us to get out and do this work, because we do this work in the streets with our organizations around the country in 29 states. And we work with young people, with the Gen Z and young millennials, to be the leaders in this fight for not only voting rights, democracy, but also for racial justice.
If the truth be told, some of the work that KBLA does, in fact, most of the work that KBLA does, as well as the Transformative Justice Coalition, the truth be told, they do the work for us. So some of us don't have to. We can just kind of get our direction from Barbara and Tavis and feel good that we fought the good fight today, because we listened, we learned, and we acted. Support the TJ Coalition and support KBLA Talk 1580 during this season. Barbara, we have about 7 minutes before the top of the show. There are some topics that you might want to cover fairly quickly before we get to your word of hope. Barbara?
Yes, to Rob Weiner and Michelle Senior. Los Angeles, we've taken a loss, and the man who sits in the White House is unfit and his commentary is absolutely a reminder to all of us that this man is unfit, that he's craven in his instincts. And it's a reminder that he's not people sit around thinking, oh, he's the leader, he's this and that. He's nothing but a tool in this fight. These people have had this agenda before he even knew what television, had any presence on TV. He's there. They have used him because he is so craven. So shame on him for his commentary regarding their deaths. And may our sympathies and condolences go to the family and to everybody who is suffering at such a horrific lost. Also to the people of Brown University, our condolences, to all those families who send children and all the people on the campus who are just there to learn and to be invaded and slain in such a cruel way. And all Congress does is sit on its little hands and talk about thoughts and prayers. They better pass some protection from all of these guns. We got more guns in this country by 3 times than we have people. It's just insane. To the people of Australia, to those on Bondi Beach, to those who were trying to celebrate the high holiday of Hanukkah, we send our greatest condolences for that attack. It's just a reminder that the illness. I had a minister who said something deep that made me sit back the other day, and Dr. Brian Clay was talking. He is the former, Southern Christian Leadership Executive Director, and he is one of the members of the new National Christian Leadership Movement, of which I'm part of. And he said that we got to understand that racism is a demonic spirit.
Yes, it is.
It's a demonic spirit. I love the way he said that. And that if we understand it that way, then we know how much we're fighting. That it's not just, some little disagreements here and there, that this is purposeful deception. It's all the tricks and the wiles of the adversary. We got to understand what we're up against. So I thought that was, profound. So my, condolences to the people, and I'm, happy that heroes, came out sick of this Patel FBI with its incompetence, arresting the wrong person in the Brown University case. It's just, there's so much wrong. But I just do want to say to all of us out there, remember that the beauty of our lives is ourselves, and that God has put us here. We could have been born in any moment, but we were birthed into this moment. And that means we were birthed into a moment of purpose. Never doubt that you can make a difference. Oh, we're going to be talking in 2026 because we're not sitting back taking this nonsense. We need to make sure that we do everything in our power to dominate, to take back, not to take back, but to move forward, really, because we don't want to go backwards. We want to go forward in this battle. And I just don't want people to misunderstand what the battle is. That's why I urge you to get Without Precedence, to understand. Read some Jason Stanley's books on, what's going on with this fascism. Read, Randy Weingarten's, Why Fascists Fear Teachers. I mean, just take some time and situate yourself where you're not misled into what the real fight of this moment is. And because we need you. We need you. We need your hearts, your spirits. Thank you, everybody who's been out there fighting in 2025. We love you.
Barbara, I am so proud of you. I'm so proud to have gotten to know you for the decades that we have been friends. And to say that, it is your spirit also that motivates us, that keeps us moving forward. I mean, week after week, day after day, Barbara approaches her work with the kind of love and the kind of ministry that is motivating to all of us, not only who engage in some form of Christian praxis, but also who believe in social justice. I mean, the watering well of the human spirit requires a consideration of the deep water that it takes for self-preservation, because the mountains of evil, the demonic mountains of evil that all around us require us to dig in some very, very deep places to sustain ourselves, to maintain our sanity, and, in the words of Reverend Jesse Jackson, to keep the hope alive. Barbara, look forward to all of the work that we can do to support the TJ Coalition and to support KBLA Talk 1580. I'm asking that you keep both the TJ Coalition and KBLA Talk 1580 under your Christmas tree this year, in your hearts, in your prayers, but also in your budgets. How about that? Why not put KBLA in your budget? Just a small contribution every month to accomplish a national and a profound goal for social justice in the United States. In fact, I would encourage our other organizations to think about these monthly contributions, no matter how large, no matter how small, but as long as they're recurring. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. You've been listening to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. Our very special guest on the grind with Barbara Arnwine. More tomorrow on Wealthy Wednesdays on the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show.